welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be talking about how I passed the NCLEX-RN in 75 questions on my first try. First, I'm going to be talking about the resources I used. The first resource I used, it is the Saunders book. I went through it and made a general overview of each topic, and I organized it by fundamentals, med-surg, maternity, psych. And then for med-surg, I did it per system, and then per system, it is adult and then pediatric. So the second resource I used is Klimek. And I'm gonna add here Klimek. It was super helpful at making things easier to digest, and he had a lot of memory tricks that really helped me actually. And also, if you guys plan on using it, I would recommend to watch it ASAP because I think online those are copyright, so they're slowly taking it down already. And then yeah, I don't know why it's being taken down, because when you listen to it, he actually says you guys can record because it's for educational purposes, you know. The next resource I use, resource number 3, is UWorld, and I got UWorld for, I think it was 60 days. It includes the question bank and 2 assessments. So what I did was I took one assessment first and sort of used it as like a pre-test to see where I'm at after using Saunders and listening to Klimek. Then after doing that pre-test, I went through all the questions in their Q bank, which is more than 2,000 questions. I went through all of them, and then I did all of those that I got incorrect until I got them correctly. Once I was done with that, I did the last assessment. So the Q bank, you guys would get a percentage, and I read online that if you get 56%, there's like a 92% pass rate or something like that. And then for UWorld, I really recommend reading the rationales. I had a notebook that I used first for my Saunders notes, and then the remaining pages I used for my UWorld rationales. And basically, every single question, whether you got it right or wrong, you really write the rationale so that you can, you know, commit it to memory. So I really recommend discussing with your cohort because you guys can get a group discount. Our vice president in our NSA, Marissa, organized our UWorld discount. I don't remember how much exactly, but you know, every dollar counts. May kiki pala ako daw. Anyways, and the last resource I used, resource number 4, is Archer Review. I'm gonna add a picture here. I forgot na talaga what I did to study in class. Anyway, so Archer Review compared to UWorld is much harder, I feel like, the questions, but UWorld has really good rationale. So UWorld is more of learning, and then Archer Review is more of practicing. I can definitely say Archer is a better determinant of how you will do in the NCLEX because it's much harder and more vague. It's kind of tricky, and yeah, and if you do Archer before taking the NCLEX, you would feel much more confident. So in Archer, I did readiness assessments and computer adaptive testing. Computer adaptive testing, that's how NCLEX works, and UWorld doesn't do that. You get to have sort of the feel of it, and that really helps, and it would make you feel much more confident going into the NCLEX. They also have readiness assessments, and how it works is that if you get 4 consecutive readiness assessments scored as high or very high, it is a good determinant that you're gonna pass the NCLEX. Archer rationales are not the best. That's why I said that UWorld is more for the rationales and learning compared to Archer. Archer's rationales are more like D is correct because blah blah blah. A and B are incorrect because they are. So you don't really, you know, get to see the bigger picture compared to UWorld. So my tips for you all, number 1, make a study schedule. So after I graduated, I really, you know, made a study schedule like this is my first study day, and then this is my estimated NCLEX test date, and it's not super sure yet because it's gonna take a while for you to get your authorization to test or your ATT. So you won't really know for sure if that's your NCLEX test date, but it's good to have a general idea of what you want your goal to be each day or each week, how many questions you want to do, what resource you want to use. Yes. And also an important part to put in your schedule is a day for a break. To be honest, I didn't really take the break because it's just our secret. Sometimes I didn't reach my goal for a few days and I would use my break to make up for so I'm kind of a scam, but you know, the thought was there, the thought was counted. Now I'm a cake, guys. I think I have a cake. I ate mga kopya before this. Okay, fail mo ko eh. Okay, so next tip is getting a notebook. As I told you earlier, I had a Saunders book and then it had my UWorld rationales afterwards, but I got a smaller notebook. It's basically a summary of everything I knew I needed to know for the NCLEX. See, I put vital signs, important lab values. I organized it by system. Really, these parts are the ones that I knew I needed to really remember. Yeah, so don't just put every single thing ever. Same goes for pharmacology. I put pharmacology separately because I don't know, the struggle is real talaga with pharmacology, guys. So I put all like antidotes here, all cardiac related stuff. Obviously you're gonna need to know more medications than what is written here, but I just put those that I thought were super important for me to remember. My third tip is to change your study environment. You really need to change your study environment, at least for me, because when I take the test, I'm gonna be like, oh, I remember that I studied this in the corner of the room. Things like that. It helps me remember because, again, I'm a very visual learner. Okay? And not only in your house, if you're able to, you can go to a library, a coffee shop, whatever works for you. Sometimes you just want to stay at home so that, you know, you can take a nap when you want to. And last but not the least, it's important for you to find a study buddy. And my study buddy was Rika ko, BSN-RN. So Rika, bayaran mo na ang gastaring mo dito, Venmo me. Rika ko, if you don't know her already. So I studied with her a lot. We called literally every single day to study together. And then we would start each day by saying like what our goals are so that we both, you know, keep each other accountable. And my last and most important tip pala, hindi pala yung most important si Rika ko. This is importanter. So, the important test tip for you, find a way to manage your anxiety. Because everything that will be in the NCLEX, I'm sure 99.99999% you know. But sometimes our anxiety gets, unsa ba ng tawag? Our anxiety gets the best of us. Yan ba yung ano? Basta, our anxiety is over, and that is what cloud your decision making during the NCLEX. Like, you know all the information, but sometimes our anxiety gets the best of us. So that is the most important preparation, managing your anxiety and really being confident. So now I'm gonna move on with our question and answers that you guys sent to me on my Instagram and my Facebook. So I won't say names now because this is a safe space. What was the NCLEX tip that was super useful during your actual test taking? For me, it was really, don't overthink the question, because just answer what's there. You know, don't make things up. Like, patient A is so and so, and patient B is having like a medical emergency. Who are you gonna prioritize first? And then you think, oh my gosh, patient A, what if they'll have like this and this and this and this? But if you think about it, patient B is the one having that medical emergency right now. Next question, is the PVT trick real? If you don't know yet, PVT is the Pearson VUE trick where you re-register to take the NCLEX at least 2 hours after you take the NCLEX. And if they allow you to re-register, it means that you have FAIL. You know, we can't say that word. But if it says something like our record show that something means that you pass. For me, I tried the PVT trick and it worked. I got the good pop-up, but I heard about some instances where if you took more than 75 questions, it becomes less accurate. So I would just proceed with caution and open eyes. You know, don't fully rely on it. Okay, next is, would you recommend looking for a job while studying the NCLEX at the same time? I think it really depends on your situation. If you need to find a job right away, or if you can sort of just take the NCLEX first and then find a job afterward. For me, I looked for a job while studying for the NCLEX, and I have to admit it was very stressful, but it really depends on your situation and if you really need to find a job right now. Yeah, just take your time and go at your own pace, because like what I said earlier, the most important part about taking the NCLEX is your mental status. Hindi man mental sa mental, basta your mental, your mentality, your mental state. Yeah. Did you follow any superstitions when taking the NCLEX? Of course I did. I wore red. Everything red except for my pants, but everything else red, because you know what else am I gonna lose if I wear red, right? Just don't tell my therapist because she told me not to follow my superstitions. How much did taking the NCLEX cost? For me, it was BRN, it was $300, and then Pearson VUE was $200. So total $500. And then for the resources that I used, Saunders was around, I think, $40. I'm not super sure, but I got it on Amazon, and Klimek was free. UWorld was, I'm not sure how much UWorld cost, but I'll put it here. Archer was $50. What was the hardest thing about the NCLEX? I think the hardest thing about the NCLEX was really the mental part of it. Ano ba, Ange? Parati na lang everything is mental, because it really is a mental test more than it is like objective test. Because for me, the hardest part was that my stress really manifested physically. Like I had hair loss, I was getting like super bloated, I had pimples. But as long as you know ways on how to cope and how to manage your stress, that'll be perfect. Did you feel ready before taking the NCLEX? I wouldn't say ready, but I did feel confident, because I knew that I couldn't learn every single thing in the nursing world, because nursing is a career of lifelong learning. You know, there's so much more to learn. You won't learn everything in just a few months of studying. So just really feeling confident and knowledgeable with what you do know, and being able to use context clues to figure out things that you may not be able to learn anymore. How long did you study for the NCLEX? I started studying, I started using Saunders in December 2021. Like, it wasn't legit studying, because it was more of like whenever I had time or whenever I felt like it, because it went on through my last semester of nursing school too. But my legit studying started after I graduated, and then so I think that would be 1.5 months. For some people, that might be long, because I know some people who just take, 2 weeks to study, and yeah, I'm really the type to take my time, because I don't want to, stress myself out. Yes, okay guys, this is the end of my sit down, how I passed the NCLEX in 75 questions in my first try. So if you guys have any other questions, please leave a comment down below. And don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell, because guys, career ko na talaga itong vlogging ko. So, para naman maging sulit ang pag-clean ko, paglabas ko ng camera, paglabas ko ng ring light, and pag-connect ko ng Wi-Fi connection sa aking phone, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and comment down below.